This is a very, very hot day, and if I had any sense, I would not be sweating buckets inside recording a video about a mediocre comic from the 90s. Well, this is Prattson issue 3, and it is some more of the same. If you read issue 2, this is like issue 2 again. The series is taking its sweet arse time getting to stuff. We're still doing all the things we have seen already in this book. Prattson, his life has been a lie, and there is an evil government research facility. And then you've got to turn this page sideways, which I always love doing. It is the best thing about comics. And look, there is Prattson. He did one of his explosions. He destroyed the evil government lab, and now he is emerging from the debris. He is fine, but so is our bootleg Hulk. All you have to do to get away with ripping off one of the rival company's most recognisable characters is give him an underbite. Unlike the last issue though, this one will actually have Prattson fight the Hulk rip-off. Subplot here with Simon Williams, a character from the Young Stir Fries. It will link into our main plot and our main character eventually, but for now it just seems like random cutaways. What is this? Family Guy? Prattson, he gets to eat at a diner, but he doesn't have any money, so he should not have ordered in the first place. But the patrons recognise him as the explosion boy from the television. Then some of the dodgiest writing contrivances ever, as Hulk rip-off show up outside the diner. And so here is that fighting Hulk smash. We also have Prattson's vaguely exotic love interest. If you were a new hero at DC in the 90s, you got a vaguely exotic love interest. Superboy had one, Prattson had one, Willie West had one, they all had one. It was all the rage in 90s DC, and this one looks like one of those brilliant characters introduced in that awful crossover I fucking hate. The one with the aliens. The one that had Knife Blade, or whatever he was called. Well, she dresses like one of those characters. I never really have much to say with fighting, and when it is Prattson versus a rip-off of Hulk, I have even less to say. I didn't feel any investment because it's not Hulk. It is a rip-off of Hulk. Prattson versus Hulk, that would be interesting because Hulk is an established character and you care about Hulk. But the Hulk rip-off means nothing to me except a cheap gimmick to allow for a cosmetic appearance of Prattson fighting Hulk. This is a novelty, fighting a thinly veiled Marvel pastiche. It's a novelty that shouldn't be dragged across several issues. And it absolutely shouldn't be so early on in a series. At this point, you should still be establishing the character and his world and his continuity, not doing a long fight with a crappy Hulk identity thief. I'm not that big on intercompany crossovers in general, but I think a big reason for that is because the first one I ever read, it was the Kurt Busiek Avengers and Justice League one, which is one of the worst things I have ever read. I would review it on this channel, but I didn't have it. At 15 years old, I smashed that now long out of print and incredibly valuable hardcover collection with a hammer because I hated it so much. I really did. I think it is a vulgar comic, and I would love to air my grievances with it, but I just hate Kurt Busiek. He is such a shit writer, and that series was Indulgent Dross, and it was edited by his partner in crime, Tom Beevort. I try my best to forget about it. But what I was going to say, my problem with intercompany crossovers is that they are too heavily following cliché and expectation. You always will have the two heroes have a misunderstanding fight. You'll always have one of each of their villains teaming up. I'd much prefer something a bit more exciting and varied. Like, I didn't want to see Captain America fight Superman, but I did want to see Captain America maybe fight the Superman character Gladiator, the Captain America ripoff. That's the other thing. I think a lot of the more promising pairings are like an A-lister and then a B or C-lister. Something like, yeah, Prattson and Hulk. That could work. You could do something about their pent-up anger or whatever. Prattson versus a Hulk ripoff doesn't work because this Hulk ripoff doesn't have all the David Banner character. He doesn't have the rage issues or gamma radiation or whatever. And then there are ones like, let's think of some more, Spider-Man and Blue Beetles. That is actually a great example. Green Lanterns and Kazar. Or even just a Marvel hero versus a DC villain, or vice versa. I didn't want to see Punisher team up with Batman because that would be fucking dull. Here, where you're being introduced to all these super unexciting bad guys, like this guy, he is a Red Skull ripoff. Although, in this book's defense, they didn't create him. He was in some odd Stir-Fry Squadron stories. Baron Blitzkrieg, I think he's called. Baron Red Skull, I will call him, because it's too odd to think of things. One thing undercutting any of these scenes is that the evil science lab is called Symbolics. And I'm not doing one of my infamous jokes where I say the wrong thing. It is actually called Symbolics, and the writer and editors, they must have never said its name aloud, or they would realise it sounds like bollocks. So Prattson did another explosion, and I think this panel here sums up this comic for me. They say, I might end the review here actually. I have nothing more to say that this panel doesn't capture for me. It is a 7 thumbs up, but defer to this panel for any further opinion.